a genetic mystery that science has not yet explained. In 2012, a team of scientists was analyzing the human genome when they noticed something strange. About 8% of our DNA does not match any known terrestrial species. No plant, animal, or bacteria on Earth contains this same genetic material. But if it didn't come from here, where did it come from? The answer to this question could change everything we know about the origins of humanity. Be part of our spiritual family. Subscribe to the channel today and comment "I believe" below as a symbol that you accept your role in this great transition. Let your energy be counted among the chosen. The time is now. Stories lost in time, the legacy of ancient civilizations. If we go back in time, we will find several records that suggest that humanity has had contact with something or someone beyond what is conventionally accepted. The Sumerians and the Anunnaki, 3000 BC. In ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians created the first writing system in history, leaving thousands of records on clay tablets. Among their reports, there are stories about beings called Anunnaki, who would have descended from the heavens to teach advanced knowledge to humans. A curious detail, the Sumerians described the creation of the human being as a genetic experiment carried out by these superior entities. According to the texts, the Anunnaki had modified a primitive species to transform it into something more advanced, a narrative that surprisingly resembles modern ideas of genetic engineering. The mystery of chromosome 2. Modern genetics has revealed that humans have a chromosome unique among primates, the chromosome 2. It appears to be the result of the fusion of two smaller chromosomes, something that does not occur naturally in other species. This fusion profoundly differentiated us from chimpanzees and bonobos, allowing for an unusual evolutionary leap. Now think, if the Sumerians were right and humans were genetically modified, could this chromosome be evidence of that? Impossible monuments, clues to lost knowledge. Another piece of evidence that intrigues archaeologists and engineers is the existence of ancient monumental structures constructed with a precision that defies logic. The pyramids of Egypt, 2500 BC, the Great Pyramids of Giza remain an enigma to this day. Each block of stone weighs tons, and yet they were positioned with millimeter precision, aligned exactly with the cardinal points and even with the constellation of Orion. How did a civilization without advanced technology achieve this feat? Even with modern engineering, replicating the construction of the pyramids using the conventional methods of the time would be almost impossible. Sacsayhuaman, Peru, 1100 AD. In South America, there is another inexplicable architectural wonder, the Sacsayhuaman fortress. Its gigantic stones fit together perfectly without the use of mortar and have cuts so precise that appear to have been shaped using laser technology. The only explanation, accepted by traditional archaeology, is that ancient people polished these stones manually, a process that would take hundreds of years. But if this method is unfeasible, then how were they actually built? Could these structures be the vestige of lost knowledge or perhaps of external interference in human history? Contemporary reports. What do people say today? If ancient records suggest that something unusual happened in the past, what happens in the present? In recent years, scientists and the military have begun to release evidence of unexplained phenomena. The UFO phenomenon and official reports. In 2021, the Pentagon released a report confirming that US military pilots encountered flying objects that defy the laws of physics. They move at impossible speeds, change direction instantly, and make no sound. Although the government avoids speculating about its origin, a question arises: if these technologies are not ours, whose are they? Individual experiences, feelings of something different. In addition to official records, many people feel like you don't completely belong in this world. Some describe strange dreams, unusual cognitive abilities, or even the feeling that they have always known information that they never consciously learned. Do these people carry a different genetic trait, a remnant of something older in our species? What does this mean for humanity? If we combine all these elements, a DNA with 8% unknown material, ancestral reports of external interference, inexplicable monuments around the world, modern sightings of phenomena beyond understanding, the conclusion is inevitable. The true origin of humanity may be much more complex than we have been told. Perhaps at some point in history, something intervened in our evolution. Perhaps humanity has received a boost on its journey. But the question that really matters is, who or what did this? Your journey is just beginning. It's time to regain your strength and build a new path. Subscribe to the channel and be part of this community that is awakening to the truth. Who are we really? The mystery about our existence. The great enigma of humanity. In 1973, the renowned biochemist Francis Crick, one of those responsible for discovering the structure of DNA, made a surprising statement. Life on Earth may have been artificially seeded. According to him, the complexity of the human genetic code is so advanced that it could be a deliberate design, a concept known as directed panspermia. If this hypothesis is correct, we are not fully earthly. But then, where did we come from? Throughout history, several civilizations have tried to answer this question, each with its unique interpretation of our origin. But what happens when we cross these stories with advances in modern science? The lost past. What did our ancestors know? Ancient people had something in common. Their legends talked about beings that came from the sky, bringing knowledge and modifying humanity. The Hindu tradition and the flying gods. In sacred Hindu texts, such as the Mahabharata, written between 400 BC and 400 AD, there are descriptions of aircraft called Viman, flying objects that could cross the skies with unknown technology. Furthermore, the Rig Veda, one of humanity's oldest texts, around 1500 BC, mentions that the gods possessed energy weapons comparable to nuclear explosions. Interestingly, in 1945, the atomic bomb tests in Trinity, New Mexico, produced molten glass residues identical to those found in excavations of the ancient city of Mohenjo-Daro in India. Are these stories just myths, or records of something real they witnessed? Egypt and the enigma of the pharaohs. The Egyptian dynasties recorded that the pharaohs were not simple humans, but direct descendants of the gods. The Papyrus of Tuli, a rare document from the 15th century BC, mentions circles of fire that crossed the sky and caused inexplicable changes in the land. In 1898, an artifact found in the tomb of Saqqara, known as the Bird of Saqqara, intrigued archaeologists. Although it was catalogued as a simple statue, its aerodynamic proportions indicate that could be a representation of an advanced technology that the Egyptians knew. If the ancient Egyptians really received teachings from superior beings, this would explain how they developed engineering and mathematical techniques far beyond what was expected for their time. Indigenous cultures and connection with the stars. Dogons, an African tribe from Mali, have extremely advanced astronomical knowledge. Long before modern science, people already knew about the existence of star Sirius B, a white dwarf invisible to the naked eye. The Dogons claim that their ancestors received this knowledge from beings called nomos, who came from the stars and taught about the cosmos. But how could a tribe without telescopes know something that was only proven by astronomers in the 20th century? This ancient wisdom suggests that our connection to the stars may be deeper than we realize. Modern science and what we still don't know. If historical accounts raise questions, modern genetics gives us more reasons to investigate. Junk DNA and the 223 anomalous genes. Scientists discovered that around 97% of our DNA does not appear to have a clear biological function. This genetic material, often called junk DNA, intrigues researchers for its unusual pattern of evolution. Furthermore, in 2001, the Human Genome Project revealed that we have 223 genes that have no equivalents in other life forms on Earth. Typically, new genes emerge over millions of years through mutation and natural selection. But these 223 genes, they just appeared, without clear evolutionary explanation. If these genes did not come from natural processes, had they been inserted artificially? The Fermi paradox and cosmic silence. The Fermi paradox, formulated by physicist Enrico Fermi in 1950, he asked, if the universe is so vast and full of stars, where are all the other civilizations? Astronomers have already detected thousands of planets in the so-called habitable zone, where life can thrive. Some of these civilizations could be millions of years ahead of us. If they exist, did they leave us clues? And most importantly, have they ever been here? Unexpected connections. What's the truth about us? When we look at all these factors together, historical reports about visits from superior beings, advanced knowledge in ancient civilizations, genetic discoveries that have no explanation in natural evolution, and the fact that we still search for other forms of life in the universe, we realize that human history may be much more complex than we think. The records of the past suggest that something happened, something that was forgotten, erased, or hidden. The question that remains is, why don't we know this? If our true origin hides such a deep secret, who benefits from keeping this truth hidden? It's time to regain your strength and build a new path. If this video is making sense to you, don't stop here. Click sign up now and discover the next step towards your transformation. Sense and spirituality. Is there a hybrid lineage? The enigma of the human code. Since ancient times, human beings seek to understand their own nature. Religions, mythologies, and philosophies try to explain what makes us unique in relation to the rest of the animal kingdom. But what if this difference is not just biological? In 2013, a Harvard University study revealed that human genes underwent abrupt changes about 50,000 years ago, without a gradual transition as expected by evolutionary theory. Furthermore, some ancient civilizations hold the belief that our lineage did not just originate on Earth. Were these changes natural, or would they have been external interventions that shaped who we are? Ancient civilizations and the theory of hybrid beings. Since the reports of Nephilim in the Judeo-Christian tradition up to the demigods of Greek mythology, there are records of beings who supposedly possessed human and divine traits. The Nephilim, mystery in biblical texts. In the book of Genesis, chapter 6, we find an enigmatic passage. In those days, there were giants in the earth, and also afterward, when the sons of God possessed the daughters of men and had children by them. These were the heroes of old famous men. This excerpt suggests that a hybrid strain it would have arisen from a union between celestial beings and humans. Interestingly, ancient traditions from different cultures report similar events. Gilgamesh and the Inheritance of the Gods, the Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest texts ever found, circa 2100 BC, tells the story of a king who was 2/3 divine and 1/3 human. Gilgamesh had superhuman strength and advanced intelligence, but at the same time shared human frailties. If these legends had any basis in fact, does the hybrid lineage still exist among us? Does science confirm human difference? The search for physical evidence of this possible hybrid lineage led to surprising discoveries. Chromosome 2 and genetic manipulation. Humans have 46 chromosomes, while our closest cousins, like chimpanzees and gorillas, have 48. Scientists have identified that, at some point in evolution, two chromosomes fuse to form the chromosome 2. This fusion is unusual in nature, as it should have caused serious genetic defects, but instead appears to have provided neurological and cognitive advances. Would this have occurred by natural selection, or was it an induced event? Off. DNA and latent capabilities. Another intriguing point is that 97% of our DNA is not active. Science still doesn't know exactly what is your function, leading some researchers to speculate that this material may contain skills or information not yet accessed. In altered states of consciousness, such as deep meditation, near-death experiences, and use of certain psychedelic substances, some people report sensations of connection with the universe, telepathic abilities, or memories of past lives. If there is a hybrid lineage, could this inactive DNA contain information that we have not yet awakened to? And extraterrestrial encounters and the modern hybrid hypothesis. Hybrid theory is not limited to the past. Over the last 70 years, there have been reports of people claiming to have genetic links to unknown entities. The case of Antonio Villas-Boas, 1957. The Brazilian Antonio Villas-Boas, a farmer from Minas Gerais, reported an encounter with beings who possessed mixed traits between humans and non-humans. He described a forced playback experience, stating that these beings were creating a new hybrid lineage. At the time, the case was discredited, but today science recognizes the possibility of genetic hybridization between different species. Contact records in the United States and Europe. Similar cases have been documented in the US and Europe, where individuals have reported having childhood memories involving beings who observed them or taught them complex concepts. Many of these reports have points in common: feeling of belonging to something beyond Earth, unusual abilities such as increased intuitive awareness, fragmented memories of interactions with non-human entities. If science is just beginning to explore the possibilities of advanced genetic engineering, have other civilizations already mastered this process before us? Science and spirituality, two sides of the same coin. For centuries, spirituality and science were seen as opposites. But as technology advances, the boundaries between these areas are becoming blurred. The principle of universal consciousness. The theory of universal consciousness suggests that everything in the universe is connected, from atoms to living beings. This reinforces the idea that spirit and matter are not separate entities, but rather manifestations of the same essence. This would explain, for example, why cultures separated in time and space have very similar reports about beings coming from the stars. Quantum physics and multidimensional reality. Quantum physics brought a new perspective on reality, showing that the universe is much stranger than we imagined. The concept of quantum entanglement demonstrates that particles can be instantly connected regardless of distance. If this happens with subatomic particles, could it be possible that human consciousness was also intertwined with something greater? If science already considers parallel realities and higher dimensions, would it be an exaggeration to think that a hybrid lineage could exist without us noticing it? The biggest question: who controls this knowledge? If there is evidence that our lineage may not be 100% terrestrial, why is this knowledge not widely disseminated? Some theories suggest that ancient societies already had this understanding, but have been silenced throughout history. Why do so many cultures speak of a divine connection to the heavens? Who determined what we can and cannot know about our own origins? And most importantly, what does this mean for our future as a species? Share this knowledge with the world. Together, we can spread this message and help more people become free. Subscribe to the channel and send this video to anyone who needs to hear this truth.